So, a little bit ago, we got the first pictures of the Fab Four from these movies in the form of postcards, and the response was mixed and for the right reasons. So we're gonna go down the line, first with Paul Mescal as Paul McCartney. In the photo that they chose, it was more of like the Beatlemania era of him. He still had like the mop top cut, so it wasn't really that bad with all things considered. Even Harris Dickinson as John Lennon, his postcard depicts him more of the White Album to Let It Be era, so not too far off in that range, considering of like picking people and all that stuff. Even, Barry Keoghan as Ringo Starr, I had some mixed feelings before seeing any of the photos of them in costume or whatever. It's not awful. I wouldn't say it's like the #1 choice, but it's not that bad. I'm not really complaining about him much. Now, Joseph Quinn as George Harrison. I thought I was looking at Dave Grohl. Pretty much everyone has, like, made the consensus decision, whatever. He does not look like George Harrison in the slightest in that picture. That's him with, like, the long hair, same kind of era as the Lennon photo. But it's like, it does not even look slightly close to George Harrison, at least from my opinion, and a lot of other people's, saying the main one is, he looks like Dave Grohl. I've heard he's also looked like Charles Manson, and even David Gilmour. I could see the David Gilmour, especially when you get into more of the, like, Wish You Were Here to Animals era touring when he had the beard. He looks more like that era Gilmour and Dave Grohl than he does George Harrison. Within the most recent round of photos depicting the Beatlemania era in the early 60s, God, they're awful, most of them. Paul Mescal as Paul McCartney is not even close. He looks way older, like, same with Harris Dickinson as Lennon. Like, I'm looking back to back. I even, when I was writing this, I had pictures of that next to them from that Beatlemania era, like, professional photo shoots, like, looking back to back, all that stuff, like, no resemblance to them whatsoever. Like, they just look way older than them. And like I said, Keoghan as Ringo doesn't look this bad in this era of Beatles. A lot of people said he looks more like Ringo in these, but whatever. And Joseph Quinn as George Harrison, obviously, yet again, has no resemblance to him whatsoever. Now, people have come out with very mixed feelings, obviously, loving or hating it, saying they picked the 4 safest guys in, casting, acting, whatever you want to call it, to play them. Or that there was a lack of passion within picking the cast, and I agree wholeheartedly with that statement. Like, even with, like, obviously, no one's gonna look 100% like their character they're playing. In most cases, like we'll go over, I would say in like 90% of cases it's gonna be that damn hard. But like even with like makeup, hair, prosthetics, stuff like that, you should at least be able to get fairly close, especially if you're playing this big of a role. I wouldn't be as harsh here if we hadn't had amazing musician biopics with some damn good casting. Like, I'm talking about, like, great casting. Probably the one of the biggest ones that people have been comparing it to is Bohemian Rhapsody, with Rami Malek depicting Freddie Mercury. While he isn't 100% identical casting, that's probably the closest you're gonna get, honestly. And for the other 3, I'm hoping I'm saying his name right. Goddamn, Gwilym Lee as Brian May, Ben Hardy as Roger Taylor, and Joseph Mazzello as John Deacon. That was probably some of the best casting I've seen. Like, putting them next to each other, they are like, it's like uncanny identical, pretty much. Especially Gwilym Lee as Brian May. Putting them two side by side, even now, they look like they could be related. Like, he could be his grandson, basically. It's that weird of, like, I think there's that weird saying of, oh, there are, like, 10 people or whatever that look identical to you within the world. I don't know if that's the case here, but holy moly. Rocket Man is another great example of being as close as you can get to the actual person and being great, with Taron Egerton playing Elton John and looking amazing, and even Jamie Bell playing Bernie Taupin. There are some other solid castings that have been going through the years. A solid one, like being fairly close, is Jeremy Allen White, the guy from The Bear, as Bruce Springsteen. I would say that's fairly close. Jamie Foxx's Ray Charles is a great one. Straight Outta Compton, I didn't want to go individually. Pretty much all of NWA looking like them. It's like that crazy. Obviously, Ice Cube Kid is playing Ice Cube, but the rest of them had a damn solid lineup for that. Like, I would say that's up there with Bohemian Rhapsody casting. Even the 1991 Doors movie had a damn good cast, with the shining star being Val Kilmer as Jim Morrison. And one that's actually coming up within a couple months, Jafar Jackson playing his uncle, Michael Jackson. And also, who the hell's playing Michael Jackson's dad in the movie? Coleman Domingo playing Joe Jackson. Holy shit, that's creepy. And a lot of people have been like, how the hell did they get it that good? Obviously, prosthetics, makeup, stuff like that. So there's ways to make them look like the artists that they're portraying. There's ways to make it work. So it's like, when we have all of these amazing castings for musician biopics, obviously not every single one is going to be top-notch amazing. There have been some fumbles, but I don't think there's been a fumble this bad. Especially when we have all these great ones coming out, like the Bruce Springsteen one, the Michael Jackson one, the Bob Dylan one not that long ago. Like, that's all within like a year and a half, 2 year time. And those, I would say, they are all amazing artists, especially Michael Jackson. He's probably the only one I would put on the level of Beatles, like, in terms of, like, popularity, influence, etc. It's almost insulting seeing this casting for the Beatles movies. That's why I feel so, like, comfortable being more critical towards this, because I've seen what they can do. I've seen great biopics like this. So, what happened? And honestly, especially with the Beatles, how are you going to fumble the Beatles? Whether you like them or not, the Beatles are pretty much one of the biggest bands of all time in terms of, like their music, popularity, and influencing a lot of what music is today and how we know music. They're like one of the main big focal points, and they're still relevant today, obviously. Didn't they just win an award not that long ago for the Now and Then song? That's how crazy that was. Like 50-something years after they broke up, that they came back to finish the Now and Then song, and that won an award. That's how relevant they still are. What are your thoughts on this? I think I've rambled on long enough. What are your thoughts on this? And I'll see you in the next one. Take care.